Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. We're back talking to the big stars, and we've got two for you today. The Grumbleweeds. How are you?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, I'm Robin. He's James.
Yes.
I think it's the other way around.
Yes.
Oh,
We'll work on that.
We'll work on it.
It's so nice to see you both. I've just seen you here in Scarborough at the Spa, and I mean, you have this glorious show which really celebrates what you do best, which is just having fun, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're very
messing about.
We are very lucky.
Showing
we are
off.
very lucky. we rewrite every day. Which would be funny if we did this, and it makes us laugh. And we do what makes us laugh, and it's just silly. Everything's so silly, and people say, "Oh, I don't think it's. Is it adult? Yeah. Do you mean is it swearing? No. Will it make you laugh? Yes."
And that's the point, isn't it? What this show does is bring back variety. And let's face it, as you said at the end of the show, there's not much left. There's this and Chroma.
Yeah, there's no real sort of end of. There's no summer season as such anymore.
No,
is there?
Blackpool's gone.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Izal toilet paper, that's gone.
Yeah.
That used to be the first spreadsheet, that. You can't get Tizer anymore. No. It's all gone, mate. It's all gone. It's all changed.
And I noticed in the show you mentioned you still use the Omo, is that right?
Omo, yes. A packet of Omo and surf, like a drop of that, and while I'm sucking on a spangle. Yes.
What was beautiful tonight as well, I mean, all generations were here. There were kids here, and there were old people and middle-aged people. That's great to hear everybody just laugh, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it first happened in Yarmouth, and what we did a Kids Go Free, and then, of course, there was a deluge of kids, and what were we going to do with all these kids?
Wow.
So, and we went out, and it was just something that we'd not heard for years and years, and that was families laughing together, and so we went, let's do it everywhere. And
we
that's
kind
how it
of
came.
like that, when there's like 4 generations laughing. You see granddad and mum and dad and, the teenagers, and then the young kids. It's 4 generations, and they're all laughing. You think, wow, this is great. This is really good. We kind of like that, don't we?
Yeah, it's the whole family thing, and that's. We once did one. We were in Derby, and there were 2 teenagers sat in the front row, and you go, here we go, and by about 10 or 15 minutes in, the kid just fell off his chair laughing. And just the assembly rooms at Derby that we did, and it was an old-fashioned sort of good old days show, and this kid, and so they've got the whole family just.
And he said afterwards, that's the funniest show I've ever seen. I said, how many shows have you seen? He said, this is the only one. It's true. All they ever do is watch YouTube. They don't see live shows, do they? So it's funny, and they laugh at the silliest things.
Where I thought you really shone, I saw you at Christmas in Birmingham in the Panto there, and it was just glorious. You must have had a ball. I honestly think that's probably the greatest Panto, exceeding the Palladium any other I've ever seen. It was beautiful, wasn't it?
What a show to be in.
Same company, and we watched the Palladium one, and we thought, that's a good show, that. And we honestly, truthfully, hand on heart, believed ours was better.
I agree.
And so did a lot of the top people in Cure. So they still talk about that. Matt Slack says, I don't know, we're going to follow this year. Because it was one of those things where, yes, they spent a fortune, but it doesn't matter. You can spend 6 million, which they did. It was a very expensive show, but that doesn't make a great show. You know that, I know that. And it was a combination of the people on it, and we got on so well. We got on with Matt like a house on fire. We worked well together. Beverly was just amazing.
Yeah, it was a sort of magical cast in that one.
And she let us do all that business with her and squirt her with soda siphons and basically do the Morecambe White thing and totally destroy this superstar. And she said, I love it. I love it. We're great friends for life. And hopefully we're going to do a good one this year. We've got another good cast, we think.
Yeah.
Because we're working with Darren Day, who's a good pal of ours.
Rachel Wooding
and some other people.
There's the dance troupe and all that sort of stuff.
Oh,
so it's a real mixture.
I was
going to say diversity. It's not them.
It's a newer one than diversity.
Anyway, flawless.
That's it, flawless.
I knew it was them. Yeah.
I'm flawless.
I've done my research.
I can remember everything,
Yeah. So that's and we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to working with Darren and Rachel and all that. So, and we're working on new material. We're stuffing new sketches in, just trying them out, road testing them all the time, so that we
do it
hit
every
the ground
night.
running.
We do it every night.
It's beautiful what you do. Let's talk about you individually. I mean, firstly, James, you've got a sensational voice, and it wouldn't work if you hadn't. I mean, firstly, congratulations on that. It's a beautiful instrument you've got.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we use one of the things that we say about doing the duet. You've seen us do the duet where we spot it.
Yeah.
The trick is we've got to set that up credible. Right. If it's not credible, then it's silly before it starts, and there's nothing to ruin. So we try and set that. I mean, we're just working on a new one now, but there's 2 new ones that sort of work on that principle. But so you've got to set it up right, and then that gives him something to. Because it's got to.
Yeah, because you can't burlesque, so it's got to be brilliant for me to destroy it.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do, and if that sort of hits home, I'm delighted. That's the aim. So that's where that came from, and we've got a few sketches like that. There's one that we don't do so much anymore. Down Came the Rain with all the buckets of water,
and I just soak the audience.
And it gets bigger and bigger each time. And he comes under the sou'wester and the fire hose, and it's sort of mad.
How many times a day do health and safety say no? You can't do that in 2018.
You get that because the first time we did Hull for the panto, and I said I'm going to fall in the pit, and of course they went, what? It's an 8-foot drop,
No.
I went, no, it's got to, because when I smacked myself in the face with the microphone, I just fell in the pit. You see, that and it was hilarious because I just walked off the end of the stage. And that's when, and then in Birmingham we wanted to, when we were doing the duet, to drop a sandbag. So you sort of bang, and this sandbag hits the floor from the flies, you see. And I go down to pick it up and then hook myself on. And then as he presses the button, that flies out again, but I'm on it. So I'll go up by the leg singing the song and swinging. And they kind of went, hang on, lads.
We haven't got a rail spare. Well, we could have done it. They didn't have a rail, did they?
Yeah.
No, so that would have been fun. Or a trap. I wanted a trap in the stage, so I want Beverly to go down halfway. So she's there, singing to the audience, I mean, how degrading.
And then me sort of trying to push her out the trap.
We've got mental ideas.
It's all done with love, though, and that's the great thing about your act more than anything. The warmth is palpable. And I wonder about you. I mean, your energy is incredible, and you've been doing it a long time. Aren't you bored yet?
No. I've been doing it 56 years, I think, 57 years. And I was going to pack it in when Graham died. That was about nearly 5 years now, isn't it? And I tried doing solo. I did a ship, and I didn't like it. And just for the record, neither did the audience.
So it's unanimous.
It was a meeting of hearts. You're no good. So that was that. And then Keith Harris got ill, and my office said, will you stand in for Keith at Panto? I said, no, I don't want to work on my own. I hate working on my own. I don't like it. And I've been a feed. I'm used to feeding. I'm great. And Phil Dale said, you know that play you did, the 39 Steps? I said, oh, yeah, that was great fun. I said, I worked with James. And he said, yeah, I saw that. He said, he fed you amazingly well. I said, well, he's a stand-up comic. I said, no, but he fed you. You played all the comedy. I did 25 parts in that, and he played the lead. He said, you're trying to replace the wrong guy. You try to place Graham. Nobody would accept anybody else as the clown. Right. There's only one bloke who can do it. I said, he says, you wrote it. I said, yeah, that's right. He says, you can do it. I said, yeah. So he said, James will replace you. And I said, hey, do you want to be me? So, of course, he brought his own flavour. I didn't say, do it like this. I said, do it your way, mate. And I'll reinvent a new character. I'm not going to copy Graham. I'm going to do how I think it.
So effectively, at that point, we'd swap roles because I'd been the comic,
right?
He'd been the feed,
and now we've swapped.
Let's swap.
Which never been heard of, and
we can't. There's something that we've got in the pipeline which we can't say anything about, but we're looking at that for next year. And Robin said, "You do realise we're swapping roles again?" And I said, "Because we can."
Right.
Because we can. Yeah.
It's risky, isn't it? Because there is a question of, is it going to work? And what you don't want to do is ruin a 40, 50, 60-year legacy of something that's always worked and is loved. Yeah. I mean, how did you feel? It must have been terrifying the first time you walked out on stage.
Graham will always be so highly respected in the business, and rightly so. And he was absolutely brilliant at what he did. So it was important that we did what we did, was respectful of that, wasn't trying to copy that, wasn't trying to compete with that. So we had to switch that around to make that different, and that's hopefully what we did. And hand on heart, the fans have been back and said it's a new era of that. So, but to answer the question, yeah, it is scary, because of course the first thing was, when I joined the act, is that the first thing that happens on that stage, it goes, ladies and gentlemen, the Grumbleweeds, and I walk on my own.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't. So I went, ladies and gentlemen, the Grumbleweeds, and I walked out and they went, who's that?
Bringing a microphone.
Yeah. So it's developed over the years, but of course that was the big scary step. And then
so then we hid me, so I became another character. Well, I don't know either of them. Yeah. It must be them. Yeah. And then at the end, of course, the wig comes off and I come out as me. Oh, I remember him on telly. But 4 years has passed and we've worked and worked and worked on the act, and now people don't even remember the past. Didn't there used to be more? That's all they say. They say, I came to see you in 1976.
Yeah, and
he was 4.
And to explain that, that's not that they've sort of forgotten about the past, because for all the Grumbleweeds legacy, it's gone on for 55, 56 years now, that it's all become part of the same history. And that, I think that's what the thing is, for me at least, that I had to fit into that legacy rather than sort of be a speed bump in it, that makes sense, just to be a continuous thing. And now it all blended into one, so they sort of said, did there used to be 5? Or there used to be 4? Then we go, no, actually 5. Oh, and there you go.
But the great thing is, Graham was just a funny man, and I was the technician. I worked out, I said, be on there. So I kind of said, I was honing it, but working on my own, really, because he would just say, oh, okay, he was just the idiot. And brilliantly tactic. But now, he's a technician as well. And he's directed, and so we've got 2 technicians looking at. We haven't fallen out in 5 years, have we?
No. And
we look at stuff and we say, I don't know about. And we go, what about if we do it this way? We talk constantly about how we change it. One line. If we did that day, would that be fun?
When we leave here tonight, we will go back through what we did and change 4 or 5 lines from the 4 or 5, 10 lines that we changed last night. So they put new stuff in tonight, and new stuff, make it more current, whatever's happening, get that in, that doesn't work. And it might be something as simple as, nobody does that anymore. We used to do a line about the Army and Navy stores, and eventually I said to him, when was the last time there was an Army and Navy stores on the high street?
25 years ago.
And he said, yeah. So we just changed the line, and you rewrite and off you go. So it's that. So what's what we'll do tonight? We'll do it tomorrow night, and eventually, you never get it perfect. That's the thing. It's always, But
practice. We're buzzing after all that time, and I look forward to working. I'm absolutely buzzing with it.
Were you born funny, Robin? Because you are so funny. You're naturally, instinctively funny. It's not something you can be taught. I know they go now and get degrees in being funny, but you can't be taught it, can you?
I don't think you can. But we are lecturing to magicians at the moment. Seriously, I'm not kidding. They asked us if we'd do a lecture on comedy. I said, what are we going to talk about? He said, I don't know. So we talked about comedy for an hour on the hour. That's amazing. I said, was it amazing?
Well, we started off sort of saying, what is comedy? And talking to magicians, I said, well, you need to understand, even if you're not doing comedy magic, you need to understand anti-comedy. Because if you're being serious, there is a way to be so serious, it's kind of laughable, right? So you have to understand how laughter is created. So I started talking about how laughter is created, and then you could see him going, maybe there's something in this, and then we started talking like we talk every day about comedy.
How we structure our stuff, and why they laugh. Because Bobby Nutt came to see our show, bless his heart, and he did one of the tour with us before he died. But he came to see our show in Barnsley at the little theatre, the Academy there, and he just sat in the audience with tears rolling down his face. And he came backstage afterwards, didn't he? And he said, I knew every single line, and he said, I was crying. He said, why was I laughing? He said, just the way you did it. He said, do you actually have the same brain? How can you read it? I said, I don't know. We're on the same wavelength on stage, and we can. He just knows. I think it's trust. I've got total trust and faith in him, and he's got faith in me. So we've both got a lot of skills. You see, the great thing is he's got that voice that you said. I never had that. I can't sing. I'm rubbish. But he's got this great voice, and he can sing in opera. And so we've written another idea where he's singing all this opera-y thing, and I'm going to cock it up as usual and be the idiot.
And what's beautiful as well, I mean, you keep it fresh by changing the comedy throughout the show. It's not just one style of comedy. It goes from the physical to the wordy, back to the silly, to the insane, to the ridiculous, to the gag comedy.
To the visual.
Right, and that's deliberate, I presume, throughout, so the audience stays stimulated.
Shape. The one thing that we talk about a lot is shape and dimension in comedy. And often you'll find with a routine that you're going along like a mastermind routine where it's question, answer, question, answer, question. Well, at which point do you know you've finished?
Right.
So the real secret is to change the shape. Right. So what he has to do is he has to ask me a question. A simple twist in the shape, and that completely shapes the whole format, and that goes, that's the full stop on the end, and that's how it works.
And using the music and technology as well, whether it be sound, light, and all the stuff you do so beautifully, is another element that adds in that people just love, because you've got to keep it current as well, and to keep the kids entertained, that's a big part of it.
Well, kids like seeing stools going up people's bottoms and fellas falling over and dragging themselves along the floor like a baby does. I mean, they just howl, don't they? Kids love all that.
And my favourite was the ship in the bottle. I mean, what a talent that must have been. How long did that take you?
That's been pinched more times.
There's more people stolen that gag. I kid you not.
The story with that gag is that years and years ago, I got this gag, and it had something I've, and I was working a solo comic act. I couldn't do it to myself. I couldn't.
Right.
So when Robin was still in a double act, I said, I've got this gag. I think it's good. I've no proof for that. Go away and do it. And you were in Crewe or somewhere when you first tried it. I said, how's that gag going? He said, it fetches the place down. So there you have it.
Is it a compliment when somebody nicks a gag, or is it just pure theft?
It's a pain. It's theft.
It's a bit of both, I suppose. If it's good enough,
It's a compliment,
but
It's how lovely. Really nice.
what a compliment, eh?
I mean, the fastest I've ever known anybody nick anything was the Theatre Royal at St Helens, because we finished in February.
Yeah, end of January. Yeah.
End of January with Beverly Knight, and we did that routine that you were talking about when everything goes wrong, and I did remote control, and disaster happened. And somebody rang me up 3 weeks after Panto and said, I've just been to the Easter Panto. What is it? They're doing that routine. I said, no. So what, similar? No, same music, same song. The only gag they didn't do was the swapping of the mics, because they didn't know how to do it. 'Cause a lot of people asked us how we did that, because it is quite technical.
Right.
And they couldn't figure out how we do it, but they'd have the same song, the same routine, the same things, the soda saft, everything. And I thought, is it a compliment? No. I don't think... It's again, like he said, it's all right people nick the stool, and then they do it and they don't get the laughs, and they can't understand. They think it's the prop that gets the laugh.
Right.
It isn't. It's
all the setup.
It's the setup between the two characters. Like he said, it's like Steptoe and Son. You've got these two characters that can't live without each other.
Yes.
And yet they despise each other. He's an idiot and he's a clever sod, but they've still got this warmth going on there, and that's the kind of warmth that we try to portray. So the audience are not hating him for having a go. I mean, he's just clever. He's just smooth, isn't he? And they love it when the old fella gets the one over on him.
And is it beautiful after all these years? I mean, you were there right from the beginning to know that this show is still relevant, because they wouldn't have you in kudos. They don't need to put you in the biggest pantomime, the most seen pantomime, and there you were last year, and they chose you. They could have picked anyone. That's got to be a huge compliment.
You have no idea how we felt. I mean, genuinely, you've got no idea, because we did a couple of little pantos. Nick Thomas came to see us, and Phil Dale said, "Did you see the boys? Have you seen how good they are?" And he said, "They are, aren't they?" He says, "We should use them in our shows." He says, "No point in putting them in a small one. Put them in at the top. Put them in at Hippodrome." He says, "We've got Matt Slack there. He's like hysterical. It's his show." He said, and Phil Dale, the director, Michael Harrison, who we got on great with, Michael said to Phil, he said, "Do the boys know how funny Matt Slack is?" Phil says, "Does Matt Slack know how funny the boys are?"
Nice.
And it was great, because we got on with Matt so well.
Well, you're so different. You're not competing, are you? Because it's a different type of laugh.
He's brilliant at what he does, and we loved working with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are, because we're technicians, we actually say to him, "You know that I get a bigger laugh if you did it." I never thought of that. Yeah, and we're helping him. We're giving him stuff, and nobody's ever done that to him before. And they're all going, "He's stealing the show." It's his show. We weren't there to steal it. Right. We're on the Birmingham Hippodrome with Beverly Knight. Thank you, God.
I think when they talk about the greatest variety shows on earth, that really was it, wasn't it? You've got the greatest singers, you've got the greatest comedians.
I don't know how you can top it.
It'd be different.
Really don't know how you can top that show. And I said to Matt, I was talking to him last week, I said, "Good luck next year, mate. I really don't know how you." He says, "I don't know how I'm going to do it."
But they will, it's
They'll
things
do
go
it.
up and onwards, and there's always, the one thing I always say to you is, there's always something funnier. There's always something funnier.
Not necessarily. I spend a lot of time in theatres. There's not always something funnier. Trust me. We might think there's something funnier or bigger or better, but not necessarily.
Well, we do we are inspired by different things. We watch a lot of comedy, and we don't nick anything. We are inspired by it, thinking, "That's a great idea. Isn't that beautiful?" You know.
Yeah, you've just got to take the flavour of it and go your own way with it, because as soon as you nick something, I mean, I'll tell you the story behind the karaoke thing there. That was totally inspired by Freddie Starr's, Vincent Starry Night, and this is back to when I was working solo, and I did it as my own karaoke routine, but all the things were pedals going wrong, and it was all, that's how it works. But I didn't want to do, he'd done it with his mouth and made the sound effects and a band, and I thought, well, what would that look like if it really was a tape going wrong? So that was where that was born. Fast forward a few years, and I always felt that watching the Weeds, and we worked together a lot over the 20-30 year period, that the Working Men's Club never had an ending. That famous sketch that they had, and it never had that ending, which they'd used Cher for previously to get out of. And I said, well, I've got this thing. Can we use this in that and make you control the sound? And that's how that was born. So the idea was that it came from an inspired thing, but it's certainly not a copy. It's a completely different routine. But that's where the idea came from. And I think that's the difference between being inspired and copying something.
And then when we did Hull, that's when he fell in the pit, because he knocked himself out and fell in the pit, and that was that's where it changed direction at the end. That was the end. Perfect. Came out of Hull, no pit. We're doing a club, and said, there's no end. There's no end. He hits himself, it's rubbish. He just, I've hurt myself. And I just walk out. And then he rang me in the middle of the night. He said, got the other end. I said, what is it? He said, third laugh with the stool. Oh, thank you, God.
Which will make sense when you see the show.
Come to Northampton this year. You'll be there with Darren Day and all the people. And finally, I must mention your Cher, because I did find it mildly erotic. I've got to tell you. This is actually true. I just saw Cher in Vegas about 4 weeks ago and walked out. She was so boring. She spent most time off stage getting changed. So to see you actually do Cher was actually better than Cher doing Cher.
No, really? Yes. Well, amazing.
How many times have we talked about taking that out?
I kept saying,
do not take that out. It's a magical moment.
I know, I keep saying,
Does it chafe?
No, not at all. I mean, I've been doing it for 25 years. And are you doing Cher? Do you know how old I am? I'm 75. I'm wearing high heels and stockings for a living. Are you insane?
You could get a government grant with that these days.
And I said, we were doing, I think, Bake Up. I said, this is the last time I'm doing this, James. We went out there and he got a standing ovation for it. So they were going mental. And he came off, he says, and your point being? Yes. All right. It's in.
Get your fishnets back on. Boys, congratulations. It's so stunning to see someone who is so talented at what they do and so passionate and still love it, because this business can wear you down. And having done it for so long, it's so amazing that you're still here. And what you've brought to the act is incredible. Funnily enough, I saw you with Brian. You did the Theatre Royal in Nottingham, didn't you? Just after Graham passed away. And that was a magical show. And it was almost the rebirth, wasn't it, of you and the group and your career?
James was there. And
I directed that show, I think.
He directed it. Yeah, and then I did the thing with Brian, and we had a bit of a laugh, because Brian's been a pal of mine it used to be our warm-up comic. I'll tell you how many warm-up comics we've had. We've had Shane Ritchie, we've had Bradley Walsh, we've had Cannon and Ball, we've had Brian Connolly, and then there's others. They were our warm-up comics. That's how long I've been doing it. I've seen them go up and down and up and down, and I'm still there. You know, I'm never flavour of the month, but I'm still on the menu, which is great.
As long as you're still working, take the check.
It's not about the money now. It isn't. It's genuinely, Hannah, it's not about the money. I've got properties. I don't need to work. I love doing this.
Yeah, you can tell.
There is nothing like making people laugh.
You're so funny and so charming, and congratulations, a beautiful voice and a top act as well. Come and see it here at Scarborough, and then the pantomime, and you're on tour as well. Go to the website. Give the web address so people can find you.
www.grumbleweeds.com.
There you go. Easy to remember. Thank you. James, Robin, thank you for your time.
Our pleasure. Thank you.